Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of my opinions about classical music. If you're a new viewer, welcome. I hope you want to hit the subscribe button. And if you're an old viewer, welcome back. I'm happy to have you here. Today I'll be talking about the percussion section, but more specifically the unpitched percussion. The main reason I'm dividing it into pitched and unpitched percussion is that there are so many percussion instruments. Like, oh my god, are you percussionists okay? How can you manage to learn all these instruments? In my opinion, you guys should have like specific instruments, just like the rest of us. But anyway, before we jump into it, I want to explain what I view as unpitched percussion. So, the unpitched percussion section to me is either instruments that do not give off a clear pitch at all, for instance maracas, or it is an instrument that is used in spite of its pitch, for instance the triangle. So, as you can probably understand, there are a lot of instruments that fall under this category, but I have made a list of 6 instruments that I will be talking about today. And those 6 instruments are the triangle, the maracas, the bass drum, the snare drum, the bongos, and the cymbal. So let's start from the top with everyone's favorite geometrical instrument. It is, of course, the triangle. In many ways, I feel like the triangle is the piccolo flute of the percussion section. You're either there to make something more dramatic, or you're there to make a high-pitched ding. The triangle can be a solo instrument, much like the piccolo flute, but often in the orchestra setting it is not. Though if it's there you can definitely hear it. Personally, I really like the triangle. It seems kind of annoying at first, but when you get used to it, it gets better. I feel bad for all the percussion players that have been placed on the triangle part and then have been perceived as the worst player, because playing the triangle requires quite a lot of skill. Believe it or not, there are actually triangle techniques. But okay, let's leave the triangle for a bit and move on to the next point on the list. And that is, of course, the maracas. And now, if you are a percussion player, I have a question for you. Every percussionist I have seen that play the maracas do not hold it by the handle, they hold the round thing. And I have to ask, why are you doing that? Isn't the point of the handle to hold it at a handle? And I know that's not related to whether I like the instrument or not, I just don't understand, and it's kind of affecting my opinion on the instrument. Why are you not using your handle? But anyway, not much to say about the maracas. It's a shaky instrument, you shake it, as far as I've understood. And I don't mind the shaking, but I don't really love the shaking. It works really well in specific kinds of music. But in general, it's just shaking, you shake some whatever it is inside. It works kind of as texture for the orchestra, and I don't mind that, it's nice. So next up we have one of the biggest unpitched percussion. It's of course the bass drum. And I just have to start off with, have you heard a super ball on a bass drum? And for those of you who don't know what a super ball is, it's basically a mallet that's made out of a bouncing ball on some metal stick. And it's used to drag across the head of the drum. If you haven't heard that sound before, I recommend going on YouTube and finding a video demonstrating it, because I really like the sound of that. To me, it kind of sounds like the engines of a spaceship. Apart from that, I don't really have much to say about the bass drum. You hit it with a big stick and it makes a whoop sound. Yeah, not much to say. So instead of saying more about the bass drum, let's move on to the snare drum. Nothing gives association to a marching band more than a snare drum. And as you may or may not know, I like marching bands, so I like the snare drum. It's as simple as that. Still though, it rarely happens that I find the use for it in my compositions, except when I compose marches. So while I like the snare drum, I don't really see the use for it much. You can definitely use it to play bolero, make the percussionists go insane. It's also found as part of the drum kit. If you use wisps on the snare drum, that can sound really nice. In general, I quite like the snare drum, but apart from the association to marches and in the drum kit, I don't really know what I'd use the snare drum for. So if you have some examples, do let me know. So let's move on to another set of drums. It's the bongos. And now you might be going, aha, but the bongos, they have two different pitches, so that's not an unpitched percussion. Well, psych, you can't tune it, so that's why I still count it as unpitched. In my opinion, the bongos have quite a lot of potential with its two pitches, but it's often been used as comedic relief, much like the triangle has. I do like the cleanness of the timbre from the bongos. I've never written anything for the bongos before. I think I might do that in the future. The bongos definitely has its use as a rhythmical instrument though, not much as a timbral instrument. Though I can imagine you could probably drag a Super Bowl on the bongos as well. I'll definitely be asking my percussionist friends to try that out soon. But okay, let's move on to the last instrument on the list. It is the cymbal. And oh boy, do cymbals come in many shapes and forms and sounds. I've seen cymbals in pairs, I've seen cymbals with holes in them, I've seen cymbals that's suspended on a stand, I've seen small cymbals, I've seen large cymbals, and you can make so many noises with the cymbals. You can use practically any mallet on them. You can use the Super Bowl on the cymbal, you can probably use some metal sticks on the cymbal, I don't know. You can use the regular drumstick, you can use soft mallets, you can use hard mallets. You know, you name it, you can probably use it on the cymbal. Wouldn't you know, you can even use a cymbal on a cymbal. And that's where you get the crash cymbals. As you can probably tell, I quite like the cymbals and the variety of sounds you can make with them. You can both use it to scare the souls out of people, or you can use it to create a mood. So, for that reason, the cymbal is my favorite unpitched percussion instrument. So, I've already given up my first place, so let's just put that on the list right away and move down from there. In second place, we have my big friend, the bass drum. In a tight third place, you find the triangle. Only barely below the triangle, we find the snare drum. And only just barely below the snare drum, you find the maracas and the quite nice white noise it gives off. And that sadly leaves the bongos at the very end of the list, and don't get me wrong, I like the bongos, it's just that they couldn't compete with the other ones in this particular list. The bongos are definitely a great instrument. And look at that, that's all we had time for today. Do let me know what's your favorite unpitched percussion instrument. Don't forget to hit the like button and to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications anytime I post a new video. And with that, I'll see you next time.